everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Edie and I'm calling this channel Sometimes I Read because sometimes I read and sometimes I don't. But I am in a really good reading habit right now, so we're gonna go with it. If I start this channel, it might force me to read more books, right? That's the idea. So where I got the idea for this was I was looking on YouTube and trying to find book reviews, like little video essays, just stuff about V.C. Andrews. I have loved V.C. Andrews since I was a little kid. Too young of a little kid to be reading V.C. Andrews, honestly. I think I got my first I read my first V.C. Andrews book when I was, I think, 7, which could be why I am who I am today. Yeah, so I read them when I was a little kid. My mom gave them to me, and that was pretty much it. I was hooked right away. The first book that I read, I'm almost certain it was Heaven, was the very first one that I read, and that was it. That was it. And I was off to the races. I'd be a 9-year-old pulling all-nighters so that I could stay up and read V.C. Andrews books again and again and again. Especially those first series, Flowers in the Attic, Heaven, Dawn, Ruby. I have read all of those books just a million times. So I really wanted to hear other people's opinions about them because obviously, you know, if you probably know Flowers in the Attic, so you know what that story is. All of the other ones have the same vibe, the same elements happening. So needless to say, they're all pretty fucked up. So I wanted to hear what other people had to say about them, and I couldn't really find anything beyond Flowers in the Attic. A couple of videos for Petals in the Wind. Like there's a couple of videos scattered here and there, but I was hoping to find a channel that just had reviews and stuff on all of the books, all of the series, because you know, I read some of the later ones, but not a lot of them, right? So basically anything past like the Misty Shooting Stars series, I've never fucked with that. So I wanted to hear what kind of shenanigans those ladies got up to. Couldn't really find anything, and I was like, shit, this is your fucking chance. Like, how often do you find something that hasn't been done to death on YouTube, right? Like, those moments are pretty few and far between. So, like, well, I'm just gonna try to make the channel that I was trying to hope to find because I wanted to watch it. So I'm gonna make the channel that I wanted to watch, maybe. So how my videos are gonna work, ideally in my head, I'm thinking as the first half will be a synopsis of the story. Just super spoiler alert synopsis if you're not interested in reading the books, but you want to know what goes down. So it's just going to be a synopsis of the story, catch you up on everything. We're going to go through the cover, go through the characters in the cover. I'll try to figure out how to like insert photos of all of the other covers. I'm really getting ahead of myself technically, so we'll see if I can figure that out. Anyway, so the first half of the video I'd like to do a synopsis and just breakdown of what actually happens in this novel, and then the second half I'll do a review, my thoughts, my feelings, the parts that I thought were hilarious and the parts that I thought were super fucked up, and I'll also try for those classics to remember how I felt about them as a kid, because I do know that I guess I just didn't really fully understand what I was reading, so I definitely held some pretty fucked up opinions about shit. So with all that being said, we're going to start with the series that inspired me to start this channel. This is what I was looking for on YouTube, and I was just hitting a brick wall. I'm not starting at the beginning because honestly I read Flowers in the Attic maybe a year ago, so not recent enough that I would want to do a review and talk about it, but too recently that like I just can't read that again. So we're going to start with the third family series, and that's my girl, Dawn. I read Dawn the Dawn series when I was a kid, and it was never one of my favorites. I think just because the character of Dawn just can't compete with obviously the brilliance that is Kathy, or the just buttfuck insanity that is Ruby's existence. And I feel like Heaven is, she kind of plays the middleman there. I really like Heaven too, but it's been a long time since I read that series too, so you know. So anyways, I wanted to start with Dawn. Couldn't really find anything on YouTube about Dawn, probably because it's so fucking boring. But anyways, I'll say that for the review. So, Dawn. My copy's got these little things, and so I can remember all of the really weird parts. So we got the classic cover. Don't mind, these are all damaged and all fucked up, right? So we got the classic cover with the photo. I'm assuming what we have here is Cutler Cove, even though I'm not really seeing any ocean, and I'm not sure what the candy corn fence is all about, but I'm guessing that that's what this is. This is Cutler Cove, and this is our girl Dawn in the sun, like the dawn of day. Okay, and to go into it, dun, 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 maybe I'll try to... Okay, no, what the fuck? So anyways, this is the inside. So clearly we have our protagonist. This is Dawn Longchamp slash Cutler, spoiler alert. This is, I'm assuming, Mama or Sally Jean Longchamp. Up here we got Daddy, who looks to be about 2 years older than these folks, and he's also he's feeling some kind of way about something that he's looking at over here. So this is Daddy, also known as Oreman Longchamp, which that name though, Oreman. Okay, this is Philip, brother extraordinaire, or boyfriend slash brother extraordinaire slash let's just like claim some ownership. That's probably why he's feeling some kind of way, because like, why are you manhandling my daughter? Like, and can we get a second chair in this shit? Over here we got Jimmy Longchamp. This is Dawn's brother that she lived with, like, yeah. And then this is Fern. This is the baby. So as far as the cover goes, let's talk. I think that overall everyone looks basically how they're supposed to. Yeah, everyone looks sort of fine. I think that like Dawn's face, I don't know if it was just my cover and like it being seen through the like little thing that it got faded, but she looks super washed out. Now, I'm not trying to say she needs bronzer or something, but she looks so fair that you can't even really see her nose, like when the camera, like when the light is too bright. So you can't even really see her nose much. Jimmy looks like, I don't know, he looks fine. He looks like nothing, whatever. Philip, again, fine. I don't really care about any of them. And I really think that this photo, it's a little bit annoying because, look, like, she's only with these people for like maybe the first half of the book, and then the second half she's at Cutler's Cove with the grandmother, with Clara Sue, with the mom, with all those people, and none of those people are really represented here at all other than Philip, which I think sort of sucks. Like, why are we getting Fern and not the grandmother? What? Nobody was reading and being like, I wish I could see what that fucking baby looked like. Like, that, no one cares about that. So that's sort of an odd choice. And it's especially odd when, you know, I'll just go that, you can screen grab that if you want. When the back just full baits out, like just complete spoils that the mom dies. Then Dawn's mother suddenly dies and her entire world begins to crumble. Like, oh, okay, well, sure. I mean, that's fine. And when I read that, I was like, oh, like they really bait that out. But I guess, you know, she probably dies pretty quickly because they're kind of ushering her along in the story and whatever. No, she takes hundreds of pages to die. It's the most brutal thing. Like the whole, yeah, she takes a really long time to die. So it's odd that they would spoil it at the back. But with that being said, it's odd that this is kind of like the photo that they went with. All of that aside, whether I think that these characters are the appropriate ones to be putting on this cover, etc. Obviously, there will be time for the grandmothers and the Claire Sues of the world to get in the photograph. But is the photo bringing the V.C. Andrews drama? And I think that without doubt it is. So here we have feels. This guy is feeling things. He has problems, okay? This whole hand on the thing here just kind of reeks of like ownership, of like control, of trying to like hold her down, which, spoiler alert. Then we got here Dawn with her pearls, which I guess grandmother Cutler took them back, and then that kind of didn't resolve. We got the mom here. I think the mom should look sicker. She should look weaker. She should look just generally shittier. But she's just fine. She's just nothing. She's just so fucking boring that I just don't even care about her at all. I don't even care to talk about her. Jimmy looks fine. I really wish that we could have seen Jimmy's face a little bit better, considering like how important he is to Dawn and how important he is to the story. But you know, he's looking at Philip and he's thinking some shit. Daddy's looking at Philip thinking some shit. Dawn's like, what's this? What, I'm Dawn? Like, Dawn is not thinking a single fucking thing, honestly. You know, I like her, but she's no Kathy. So that's the cover. I'm super, super, super happy that I have this version with the cutout, with the photo. Not all of my V.C. Andrews books are these original versions. I have a couple, you know, a couple that still have this cover, but this is not like a step back photo. It's just like sealed and all you can see is just a little bit of her face. Not sure why they ever even made those. Not sure why anyone would want those. But with all that being said, there's no comparison that these covers with the photos of the characters are amazing, especially compared to those new covers, which hopefully I can like put right up there because they are heinous. They're really not nice at all with those like models on the cover, like the real people. No, not good at all. So let's just start with the synopsis of the story. So our book starts and our protagonist Dawn is 14 years old. So the book was published in 1990, so I'm assuming that it you know, takes place in that time period, but there's really nothing in the book that would date it. There's no pop culture references. Even like the references to their clothing are probably purposefully vague. So it really, there's no era, and it doesn't really date itself like that. So she's 14. She lives with her mama, her daddy, her brother Jimmy, who I think is like 1 or 2 years older than her, and her baby sister Fern. So book opens to her getting woken up in the middle of the night because she can hear mama and daddy frantically packing in the next room. So she wakes up her brother and is like, oh, we're moving again. So, you know, right off the bat establishing that these are people who are poor, because she mentioned the shitty apartment. These people who are poor and who move around a lot, always in the middle of the night, and it's just something that they've just resigned themselves to, Jimmy and Dawn. Like, they just have accepted that this is just kind of what their life is, right? So the author really wanted to just kind of establish that whole scene in the first 1 or 2 pages. Like, this is kind of who they are, and this is what's happening right now. But what else they wanted to establish, equally important to the plot of the story, is literally on page 3, we have our very first instance of Dawn and Jimmy getting dressed in the middle of the night, you know, ready for their move. So they're getting ready in the moonlight, and Dawn's nightgown just casually slips off her shoulder, and she catches Jimmy staring at her in the moonlight, as you do. Her heartbeat flutters, and he looks away embarrassed. And then I think like 2 pages later, she starts talking about how handsome her daddy is. So right off the bat with Dawn, you know that you are reading a V.C. Andrews book because everybody just wants to have sex with everyone in their family. Because everybody talks about each other really inappropriately and everybody wants to fuck their family. So that's V.C. Andrews. Look, if you're here, it's probably because you've heard of Flowers in the Attic and you're like, isn't that the book where like the brother and the sister bang? It's like, yeah, it is, even though it's really more of a rape, which that's the common theme. There's always one family member who you love in a genuine way, even though it's inappropriate, and another family member who will rape you. So that is V.C. Andrews in a nutshell. Just lots of incest. Just lots of incest. Anyways, and Dawn is no different. So it cuts to Dawn. They're moving around again. Jimmy's like, I'm pissed. I don't want to move. Dawn's like, oh, but it's going to be better this time, Jimmy. Daddy gets a job in some fancy school in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. And lucky Dawn and Jimmy, they get to go to school with all these Richies and have a really good opportunity. Dawn's pretty stoked because she really likes to sing. She really likes to play the piano. And she thinks that there'll be a lot of good opportunities there for her. Jimmy is like, fuck that. Everybody there is rich and I'm poor and we wear the same clothes every day and this is gonna suck ass. And surprise, surprise, it did super suck ass. So Dawn and Jimmy are enrolled in Emerson Peabody Fancy Pants School because her daddy got a job there as the maintenance guy. So they're not going to the school. Obviously, right away, they're not fitting in because like they look poor and people are like, who's your dad? Is he a congressman? Is he fancy? And their dad is not. So right away, everything that Jimmy predicted came true. So it's the first day of school. Pretty sure this is Dawn's first class. It's gym. She goes into the change room to change and she finds a girl smoking a cigarette. That girl turns out to be Clara Sue Cutler, who, spoiler alert, is going to be a part of the story. Dawn, I don't know, just in her Dawn's fucking stupidity and her annoying way, she baits out this girl's scene for really, she accidentally rats on this girl, Clara Sue. So Clara Sue gets caught smoking on school property, gets in shit, and is immediately like, fuck this new girl. So they steal her clothes and they throw them in the toilet and piss on them, which is really gross. And then Dawn has to wear her gym uniform for the whole day and everyone thinks she's like a weird and stares at her. So anyways, right away, Dawn has made an enemy out of Clara Sue because Dawn kind of sucks and she just could be cool for 1 minute, basically. At lunchtime, all the other girls are laughing at her and she's like immediately a pariah, and she meets this really cute, handsome, blonde boy who comes over and starts like putting the mac on her, named Philip Cutler, who just obviously is Clara Sue's older brother. So Philip's like, don't worry about Clara Sue, she's a bitch, she's just jealous, you're so hot, let me take you like on a drive home, girl. So immediately he starts putting the mac on, and she doesn't have any friends. She's going to this new school where everybody hates her and thinks she's a poor freak. And now this guy comes over and he's super nice. He's really sweet and he seems really genuine. So obviously, you know, she's going to be super open to making a new friend, which you can't blame the bitch. So, you know, things progress. Her and Philip, they hang out, they go on some dates. Dawn gets chosen to do some solo at the school. Clara Sue like super hates her. Principal at the school, Mrs. Turnbull, I think it is. She's just like a dead ass bitch, like all the principals in all V.C. Andrew books are. Hates Dawn, thinks Dawn is like a wild slut, which again, they always think that about all these girls. Like if you're poor, you are immediately a wild child slut in every principal's eyes, which is odd to me because obviously these girls that go to the school, these rich fancy girls, are all bitches, super big bitches. They did not have to be convinced to piss all over Dawn's clothing, but I guess Miss Turnbull has never had a problem with any of these rich girls before because she seems incapable of thinking that they would have bad attitudes or bad behavior. So not really sure what her principling consists of, outside of harassing all of her poor students. So anyways, Dawn hates the fucking school. Jimmy hates the school. They're not getting along there. They're not getting any friends. The only thing that Dawn loves is Philip. Meanwhile, at home, we have Mama, who is getting increasingly sick. I think she has consumption, so she's super, super sick, super, super weak. She refuses to go to the doctor. She refuses to go to the hospital. She's up all night coughing. She's not eating. She's lost a ton of weight. She's so weak that she can barely care for her baby anymore. Even with all that being said, she refuses to go to the hospital or the doctors, and I guess that's just okay. And the Jimmy and Dawn never force her ass to go, and obviously the dad doesn't make her go too, because as we'll find out later, she's not going to the hospital because they are technically fugitives, and if they go there, they'll have to give their identity and their ID to get care, and then they'll probably be super, super caught. Eventually, Mama gets so terribly sick that the dad is just like, okay, fuck it, we have to take you or else you're gonna die. She's like, yeah, probably should have taken her 2 months ago, but that's fine. So they take Mama to the hospital and she dies. And I, for one, am super, super thankful because I'm so over this beginning part of the story and it's so boring and I hate Mama and I hate hearing about her illness and I'm just bored and I don't care and I want the drama. I want Cutler's Cove. Where is the grandmother in this shit? Y'all's boring. So Mama dies and I don't know, some whatever. Anyways, I don't even remember how it all goes down because this doesn't fucking matter at all. So then cut to a couple weeks, a month after the mom's death. I don't know if they make it clear or if I just don't remember, but whatever. So the mom is dead. Dawn wakes up in the middle of the night to a loud knock on the front door, and it is the police who have come to arrest Ormond Longchamp and take Jimmy, Dawn, and Fern to the police station and to put them in foster care. Except, spoiler alert, no foster care for Dawn, because we find out that she was actually kidnapped as a baby by her mama and daddy, raised as their own daughter, and now that she has been found, she is going to be returned to her rightful family, and Jimmy and Fern are put in foster care, and who gives a fuck, basically. The police are super big douchebags and really mean and unsensitive and totally uncaring to the fucking trauma that is this situation. And the whole book I'm just reading thinking wow, there really needed to be a lot more social workers involved in this whole transition. You can't just uproot people in the middle of the night and be like, here's your new family, good luck, deuces, right? So Dawn is put into a police car in the middle of the night, it seems, and whisked away to her new family. She's not allowed to talk to her daddy. She's not allowed to talk to Jimmy or Fern. She has no idea what's happening. She has no idea where she's going. So as she's driving, Dawn starts seeing signs for Cutler's Cove, which she knows about because Philip, her boyfriend from school, he is a cutler and his family owns Cutler's Cove, which is the name of a big giant hotel that his family has run for 1 million years, and then they kind of basically own shitloads of the land in the town that kind of sprung up around it. So she's like, okay, what the F? Why am I going to Cutler's Cove right now? So once Dawn is actually at Cutler's Cove, she realized that shit super sucks. Her grandmother is stone cold bitch. Her father, Randolph, is a weird little bitch. Is just a total little bitch who lives under his mom's thumb. We got Dawn's mother, Laura Sue. She's described as a beautiful, fragile bird who's always taken to nervous spells, and she sits all day in her bed eating food like a bird and wearing a full face of makeup and diamond earrings, and her hair is always soft and shiny and brushed 100 times. And so the mom is just, she kind of is described if Corinne from Flowers in the Attic met Maris from Frasier, and those two had a weak spineless, beautiful baby, then that baby would be Laura Sue Cutler. So she basically just lives in the bed and just like holds court. And then we got Clara Sue Cutler, who is a year younger than Dawn, and again is a stone cold bitch. Super hates Dawn, always is super jealous of Dawn. Everyone really loves Dawn. Everyone thinks Dawn is really talented, that she's really beautiful. Everyone is excited she's back. Clara Sue is just like fat and bitchy and lazy and rude, and no one really likes her, which, I mean, yeah, like, try harder. Try harder, you're kind of a bitch. That's why no one likes you. So as we find out towards the end of the book, that Clara Sue was almost like the baby that the family had to replace Dawn, who was kidnapped when she was just 3 days old. So Clara Sue was always raised in that shadow of Dawn, like whose birth name was Eugenia, which is a terrible name, but so Clara Sue always has hated Dawn, always hated, having to live in her shadow and having to hear about her and never being able to live up and to, the expectations, right, of like the original perfect daughter who was stolen away from them. So I guess I get it, but also like, don't be a bitch, because it's not Dawn's fault she was kidnapped when she was 3 days old. Like, she was not involved in the decision making there. So anyways, the grandmother makes Dawn's life basically hell, locks her in the room, tries to starve her, makes her a chambermaid, makes her like basically work like a slave. And Dawn super hates her life. She's constantly trying to get in touch with her father just to be like, why did you kidnap me? Like, what even in the fuck is that? Trying to get a hold of Fern, trying to get a hold of Jimmy. The dad is just a big old puss bitch and keeps letting her down, and she just keeps getting fucked over. Clara Sue tries to frame her for stealing a necklace, which of course, because V.C. Andrew books are super big on people framing other people, like that's just a constant theme. If you are a character in a V.C. Andrew book, someone will try to frame you. Yeah, so Dawn lives at Cutler's Cove now. Everyone knows the story. They know who she is. They all refer to her as her original name, Eugenia, which she hates. And she hates it there, but she just gets this feeling that they're not being completely honest with her about something. So she tries to do some little investigation. She finds out who was the nurse on duty, like of her watch, the night that she was kidnapped, a lady named Mrs. Dalton. Because Dawn just can't wrap her head around, like, how could Daddy, Ormond Longchamp, how could he come into this room and steal this baby from this big, huge, busy hotel when there was a nurse watching this baby? Like, how does he get away with that? Well, Miss Dalton is old now and she's sick, and she feels as though her diabetes has been given to her from God for the sins that she committed. Miss Dalton decides to tell Dawn the truth. The truth being that Laura Sue was a super big slut, and the grandmother always hated her and never wanted Randolph to marry her. But Randolph was like, I don't give a shit. She's super fly, and I'm gonna marry her. And so basically, right away, Laura Sue was just like banging other people all the time. And one of the guys that came through was a musician, entertainer kind of guy, and one of the other staff members at the hotel caught Laura Sue and this unnamed music guy getting the bang on behind the pool, told the grandmother. The grandmother confronts Laura Sue, who is like a weak-willed, whiny little princess, like through and through. So the grandmother confronts Laura Sue and is like, look, bitch, I know you got a baby inside you that was not made with my son. It's not a color. I don't want it. You're getting an abortion. Because that's what grandmothers in V.C. Andrew books do. They force you into abortions a lot. So grandmother's like, yeah, you gotta get an abortion. Laura Sue's like, oops, LOL, already told Randolph and he's super stoked about his new baby. Now what, bitch? Even though I'm sure Laura Sue did not say it like that at all. She's like, oh, please. So Randolph finds out that she's pregnant. They're super excited, and Grandma's hands are tied now. The Laura Sue gets more and more pregnant. Everyone can see her be pregnant. Everyone is super excited about the baby. They decorate this big nursery for the baby. But the mother started feeling, Laura Sue started feeling a little bit too confident and started you know, copping some attitude with the grandmother, which obviously the grandmother's not having. So like a week before Dawn is born, the grandmother concocts a scheme with Sally Ann and Ormond Longchamp, Mama and Daddy. Sally Jean had just recently had a stillborn, so that, you know, they were kind of preying on that, you know, obvious desire for a baby, that vulnerability. So you take this baby and here's some money and just like fucking get rid of it because we don't want it here. So the grandmother did that just definitely to be a dead ass bitch to Laura Sue. And of course Laura Sue knew why, but Randolph didn't. So he's just like, my fucking baby. And he's like desperately looking for the baby for years until eventually the grandmother was like, no, fuck it, we're done looking for the baby. Here's her gravestone, we're moving past it. And everyone is just like, oh, okay, we're moving past it, sure. Whatever you say, like, you know what I mean? What the grandma says goes. So Dawn finds all of this out from Mrs. Dalton. She goes and confronts the grandmother with all this shit, like, what the fuck? You're basically a shady bitch. And the grandmother's like, yeah, pretty much, but how about I send you away to a fancy music school in New York so you get the fuck out of my hair and stop embarrassing me. And Dawn's like, well, I hate you and I hate it here and I want to go to New York to be a singer, so cool, see you later. And the book basically ends with her saying like, my dreams, I can't wait for my dreams. And so she's off to New York. So that will bring us to the second book in the series, Secrets of the Morning, where Dawn is a little bit older, not at all wiser, probably stupider, honestly. So she's moved to New York and she's going to be a singer, and that's for the next video. So to start, when I read these books as a kid, they were not my favorite. I definitely remembered the second one the most. I think it was the one I read the most. And you know, as a general rule, the first book in this series is never my favorite for the named series. Not, that doesn't count for Flowers in the Attic, but the first book in the series is never my favorite because they're usually young and it's just them getting to like the fucked up places where they're gonna be. They always start poor and it's like, now how are we gonna get them rich? I just find Dawn, the setting of Dawn, to be boring. I find Dawn's character boring. I don't care about her. I don't care about any of the characters. I think they're all stupid and annoying. And at this point in the story, I'm honestly rooting for the grandmother because at least she brings the lulz. Like the grandmother is at least she's got some spirit, she's got some fire. Dawn is so useless. She's so useless. I don't understand. And as far as the actual book goes, not the story, but the actual novel, this is the first series that was completely written by the ghostwriter. So it's like he just got like a cliff note of V.C. Andrew tropes from the other books and just kind of tried to put all of them in. You got the poor, you got the incest, you have the mean principal and like the evil bitchy girl and the framing and the grandmother and the mansions and the secrets and, you know, all that kind of shit. So it's definitely, it's just definitely a V.C. Andrews book in that regard. Like they all are pretty formulaic in a lot of ways. So if you're looking for new territory, you need to keep looking because this is not new territory. This is the same as territory, except this time it's on the Virginia beach, pretty much. I did notice in this book, quite a few typos, which is distracting, especially considering I'm kind of a dumbass. So if I'm noticing all of these typos, like they're pretty bad typos. And like there's not a shit ton of them, like maybe 4 or 5, but that's kind of a fair amount for a book, right? So yeah, there's some typos and there's also certainly some questionable like writing and sentence structure, a lot of very odd, almost like run-on sentences with like weird fragmented comma parts and just a little bit of an interesting writing style and I found myself on numerous occasions having to go back and reread the sentence that I just read because it wasn't super clear, because it really was this kind of run-on sentence where things should have been given periods, but instead they're just given odd commas. So one of the things that I find the most annoying about the character of Dawn and why she's just so not my favorite, I don't understand this girl's rationale behind her actions. I do not understand Dawn's motivation. I cannot get inside of her head. I understand Kathy's motivations. She's dead ass crazy, but I get it. So Dawn, it's established, page 3, that Dawn's got the lady bones for her brother Jimmy, who, as far as she knows, has been her brother her entire life. Like, that is her brother through and through. Philip is her boyfriend, who turns out to be her biological brother. So as soon as she finds out that Philip is her brother, she can't do it. She's not into it. She's always pushing him away, and it's like, look, we can't think about each other like that anymore because Philip is super still DTF. So now that Dawn is a Cutler and living her worst life at Cutler's Cove, obviously she is not interested in continuing her relationship with Philip because Philip is her biological brother. And Dawn is like, no, I don't fuck with that, except sometimes in the moonlight with Jimmy. But I don't fuck with that. But Philip is like, well, we didn't know, and what's the harm? And you were gonna let me sleep with you anyway, so how about I just rape you instead? So Philip rapes Dawn. Dawn doesn't do anything about it. She doesn't say anything. And she just carries on with her day, except now she hates Philip. And this is what they do. So the main girl is traumatized, and the rapists have no repercussions whatsoever. There's absolutely no consequences. But it's also just establishing this, as far as Philip is concerned, unrequited love between the two of them. So, and then this is just establishing Philip's feelings about Dawn, which will continue into the other books, that Philip basically has no chill and is super scarily obsessed with Dawn, and is always trying to sexually assault her. So that sucks, but it's frustrating when that happens, because what Dawn needs to do is obviously, yell and scream and go to the police, but that's not what she does. She just does nothing, and Philip is just free to walk the streets, even though he is a rapist. So that's V.C. Andrews. So, what goes without saying, like, if that's something, if sexual assault, and it's not graphic really at all, and it's not overly long, it's not gratuitous, so that's something to keep in mind, that if that is something that's going to really upset you, then probably in general V.C. Andrews is not going to be for you. if that's not something that you're interested in reading about, it's not going to be for you, because I'm pretty sure a character is sexually assaulted in every single book. I'm pretty sure every single book. So as far as this one went, it wasn't my favorite, but I do know that part of what I didn't like about it was the beginning part with the family that was so boring and so long, and that probably could have been edited down so that she moves to Cutler's Cove a little bit earlier, since that beginning part didn't really matter too much. They could have established that Clara Sue hates her with less scenes of bullying and shit like that. You could have just gone on with it a little bit, right? But overall, I'm excited to be starting this again. I'm excited to be rereading this, because while I remember the story, so much of it really is new, and I'm looking at it with a completely different lens as a 29-year-old person versus as a 12-year-old person. So I'm very interested to see how it's gonna go, how I'm gonna like it. This isn't going to become my new favorite V.C. Andrews book, but V.C. Andrews is V.C. Andrews, so it's awesome and hilarious and makes you laugh a lot, and also makes you think what the fuck, and you spend the whole time, or I do at least, I just want to shake the main characters, all of them. Not even Kathy is sometimes a crazy ass, but I know Heaven, Ruby, Heaven, Ruby, Dawn, you just want to shake them and be like, can you smarten the fuck up? So that is Dawn by V.C. Andrews. Next book is going to be Secrets of the Morning. I'm going to try to do the same format where I give a synopsis, which I can hopefully make brief, where I give a synopsis and then kind of a review, and just talk about my overall feelings about the book. If you liked that video, if it was half-ass entertaining for you, or if you are interested to hear about the continuing saga, that is Dawn Cutler. I hope that you subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna try to post a video every week. That's the goal. But that will involve reading the book, making this video, editing it, posting it, doing all of that in a week. So I'm going to try to do these as quickly as I can. And I'll try to read as quickly as I can. But, you know, as the channel suggests, sometimes I read and sometimes I do a bunch of other shit. So I'm going to try to really focus on reading so I get the second video up as quickly as possible. Okay, that's it. Okay, bye.